not talked about enough in the online spaces. What is that? Men. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. We're going to be going over a video that has been requested of me. Get my thoughts on the title, Are Video Games Ruining Young Men? How long ago was this posted? 4 days ago. No, not that long. Not that long ago. I'm willing to bet there's going to be some less than preferential arguments. I saw the first minute and I was like, okay, this is definitely reactionary. This is definitely going to be stream content. Am I right? Fuck. Wait. Damn it. Yes, that's actually the channel he goes with. Or not, that's not the actual channel name, but that's literally what he calls himself. Are you? Love the scuff.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Predator Gaming here, and today I'm going to show you the best Elden Ring rune farm, guys. This will get you millions of runes in under 30 minutes, so let's get it. First thing you're going to want to do, guys, go to the Palace Approach Ledge Road bonfire. Then you're going to run down, just start attacking these guys.
This is a skip,
They're
by the
super
way.
quick to kill, and they drop tons of runes. As you see, I already have 40,000 runes, but I can run down here, get these guys, and I will get
Honestly, why would he start with such a deadpan, boring skit to start with? It's not going to catch people's attention, just saying.
even more. You could level up your character super far with this method, guys. Dad?
What you doing, little boy?
Dad, I'm just trying to make a video. What are you doing in my room?
I ain't your real dad, boy.
That's a pretty racist stereotypical voice.
I'm just piping your mom.
Whatever, just get out.
Nah, you gonna listen to me. How about you get out this basement, stop playing these damn video games, go outside and meet some bitches?
Dad, I'm just trying to relax. I don't do it that often, I swear.
Oh, really? Well, I don't see you doing anything else. Give me that damn controller.
No, Dad, give it back.
Boy, you better let
I wonder how far into the abuse he's going to go. I'm going to bet there's going to be hitting. Who else bets that?
go. No, I just
beat your ass senseless.
No, I just want.
Disappointing
hey.
ass boy. You 23 years old.
You know, because hitting children is fun. Funny. How long is this going to go? 2 minutes, right?
Disappointing ass.
Holy fuck.
Gerbert.
Oh.
Wake up in the morning, I got gaming on my mind. Then I hop up on the game with the boys.
What the
There are two main things that self-improvement type people would attribute to the downfall of modern men. The first one is the hub. I've been over this before. Stop touching your worm, for the love of God. But the second is
Wait, stop masturbating? I would say men actually should masturbate more, because if they don't, they're just going to be funneling all that anger into something more destructive.
video games. Dissimilar to the hub, though, I would have a hard time saying that video games are axiomatically a bad thing. As an art form, they're actually kind of incredible. The amount of effort, time, skill, and intelligence it takes to make a good game is pretty astounding.
Axiomatically bad thing? Who has that dumb shit take? Even the effort it takes to make a shit game, you don't just credit the good ones, you credit all of them. They all work hard on them, mostly.
But the fact still remains, it's an addiction that has undoubtedly taken a chokehold of young men today. And in some ways, it's actually worse than the hub because it's way more of a time suck. You know, under normal circumstances, a nut is only like a 10-minute endeavor. Unless you're edging, may God rest your soul. And you can only
10 minutes. Okay.
Plus so many nuts per day. But for video games, I mean, if you were to add up all the time from Steam, from Flash games growing up, Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, mobile games, Clash of Clans, and especially like people playing the games on YouTube, watching them. Because when I was a kid, I did as much of that as I did actually playing the damn games. If you
Okay.
add all that up, you're looking at a crazy amount of time.
Okay. Is there a problem with that? I have thoughts on this because I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that people spend this much time on video games and in communities that engage with those video games. Go into depth later, but I want to see what this guy's argument is.
And I'm inclined to agree that these things are kind of a big problem because at certain periods of my life where I've quit them, I've made big positive changes. But I also want to be nuanced about this because I see video games being used as kind of a boogeyman by a lot of people, especially by boomers, to say that, why are these kids just playing these video games? They just need to go outside and everything will be better. Just quit the video games, level up your real character in real life. Life is like a video game. Why are you playing video games? There's a whole great world of opportunity out there. It's like, is there though? It all
He's got a legit point here. Like, seriously, who actually wants to be underpaid for selling their labor these days? Like, seriously. I'm in construction and I'm still going check to check.
all operates under the assumption that gaming is the root of the problem rather than being the symptom. The rampant gaming addiction and the youth being generally submerged in this escapism is not the actual problem. It's just indicative of a societal rot. Guys would have
Yeah, he's got a very valid point there, because guess what that rod is? Corporations.
no problem not playing or at least moderating video games if they felt connected to a real cohesive community, if they actually had relationship prospects, if they had economic prospects and they were actually able to purchase and own property through normal means without having to yeet most of their income into crypto or individual stocks or find some weird goofy ass online side hustle navigating through a minefield of online grifters. If they grew up in a healthy family structure where they were socialized properly and weren't raised with this extremely addictive technology from a young age.
But oh, would you look at that?
I wouldn't say that video games are necessarily more addictive than like most other things. It does. Well, actually, yeah, it would be a little more, but it's. I wouldn't say it's the problem again. It is just a symptom of the problem, but like, you can get addicted to anything.
We don't have any of that shit. We either grow up with helicopter parents that shelter us, or no father figures at all. Either way, it leads to the same conclusion, with infinity at our fingertips.
Ah, so just two parents, or one or two parents, are not enough these days? I am inclined to agree. Nice nipple.
Both parents being tired from work, we usually come home not to a fun, well-connected community or energetic, attentive parents, but to an atomized neighborhood and our only real, reliable friend or guardian, the iPad. And upon growing up, we may come to a place where we have no real bros, no bread, no hoes, and no hope. So we resort to escapism.
Netflix, Takis, and busty Asian woman. This is my kind of night.
So there's just a bunch of young guys walking around here. They watch anime, they beat off, whether they are trying to stop or not.
I wonder if this guy actually has a problem with masturbation. I get that vibe.
Camera roll is full of memes rather than memories of people. Maybe they go to the gym, which is all right, but it's not really like it solves all their problems.
You don't understand what memes are. Memes are a way of communicating feelings, thoughts, and emotions through pictures and jokes as a way of connecting with other people. You're you're just ignoring the connection because it's online. Yes, IRL is better, but that doesn't discredit online. Nobody's got, if people have nothing else, they need an online space. If nothing else. But yes, if possible, they should find IRL groups that they like, that they have shared interests with, like finding a book group, finding a modeling group, all that good stuff. Howdy, Regen. I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
You can find them walking around, maladaptively daydreaming to the Strokes, and of course, they play a lot of video games. So when you really ask why men are turning to these video games, you realize it's because men feel like they offer things that aren't accessible in the real world. And these feelings aren't completely unjustifiable. A sense of progression, competition, adventure, even community, because guys use games to socialize now. Progression is a big one.
Not, I mean, yeah, that's because we're so isolated in our lives that not only men are affected by this, but honestly, there are so many men that are just extra isolated because of stigma from the possibility of things going very wrong between men and women in close encounters. But it's definitely possible to be friends with, like, I've got male friends, hashtag not all men.
Skill trees, ranking up, leveling up your stats, finding better equipment, crafting better equipment. At least one of these systems will be a part of any game that a person could get addicted to, because it's this feeling of getting better, of working towards something and accomplishing it and getting your reward, your upgrade.
Yeah, because a lot of the time they're forced to do they're forced to sell their labor to a job that where it's almost always never going to have any upwards momentum of finding new work, and it's most of the time a lot of employers will what's the word, disincentivize socialization between coworkers, especially if the word union pops up. So that also contributes to a lot of the isolation that men feel.
I played a lot of video games. I found games that had these things as well as a sense of exploration and adventure to be the most appealing to me. And I find it no coincidence that at these periods in my life, I felt like I was trying really hard without any results, and also just a general monotony and bland daily routine that I was getting bored of. No exploration, nothing new. So that's why I sought out these things in my escapism.
But there's no doubting that this is a cycle that reinforces itself. Even if these problems are real to begin with, continuing to play video games and submerge yourself in this escapism, it only makes it worse. Because think about all of those hours.
Well, here's the thing. If you never engage in any sort of escapism, you're stuck fixating on your troubles, right? Or you're stuck fixating on trying to improve yourself, and that's not always going to happen immediately. So you need to take a break from that every once in a while. Yes, there are people that get into video games a little too much. There are people that fall into that addiction. Honestly, I wouldn't say it's a broad problem. The broad problem is the isolation from our societies.
That you've used and you're still using, if you could take those and put it into something productive, you can make big changes in your life. And there are so many people that aren't trying. It's hard to remember that because this self-improvement gym culture is kind of like an echo chamber on the internet. It can seem like everybody's doing this stuff, but most people aren't. So if you just try and give up these bad habits, it can go a long way.
260 solo wins.
Yeah, just try. Just try. You do got to take that first step, but you can't just brush it off as you just got to do it. You got to acknowledge that it's not an easy first step to take. I try to sympathize with people. I try to empathize with people when they're struggling with whatever issue they come to me with.
Hell yeah, let's go. Not bad considering I'm 41 years old and I don't build, so I think I've done pretty well to get to 260 considering I don't build. I'm happy with that. GG's only. Let's go.
And it really is a bummer that for most of us, this addiction starts when you're a very young kid. Because when you're that young, you don't really have the ability to think about delaying gratification or really being disciplined. Like so many kids would say their hobby is playing video games, but it's not like a natural thing that they were drawn to. It's just what offers the most stimulation. You know, the people
They weren't naturally drawn to the thing that offers the most stimulation. Okay.
who develop these games are smart to keep you playing. There are things that that give you dopamine.
And when you're a kid, you are probably drawn to some things that are like actual hobbies and skills, and not just gaming. Like I like jumping on the trampoline and doing flips and stuff, and I wanted to learn how to play the guitar.
Cool. Did you know that you can also greatly improve your hand-eye coordination and reaction time by playing a lot of video games, especially shooters?
And I actually got a guitar when I was like 10 or 11, but I barely touched it because video games offered so much more stimulation and progression. And when I would, play the guitar, it's hard. It's hard to learn. Your hands hurt from pressing on the chords and everything. It's like that with every skill. So I didn't buy.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet that you've picked up the ability to multitask a little better if you hadn't played any video games. You've been able to categorize tasks easier, I'm guessing. I have.
Bother because I got this same reward from just playing, Destiny or whatever it was at the time.
This is why the whole life is a game, level up your real character kind of thing is sort of just FUBU, because while I agree with the sentiment, there's something disingenuous about it. In a game, you're guaranteed results or rewards for your actions because that's the parameters of the programming. If you do A, you get B. Guaranteed. It's very clear cut. You also choose your difficulty, or there's a default difficulty with a set starting point.
How do you choose the difficulty? There is a default difficulty given into the circumstances of your birth. I guess there's a choice, a bit of a chosen difficulty given the direction of your life when you get towards like college age and career paths and all that fun stuff.
Or like skill-based matchmaking. And life ain't like that at all. We're all born under different circumstances with different genetics, so we're all pretty much born under different difficulties.
What did the genetics matter? Like, why would you bring it up? Like, it doesn't apply to like the majority of life these days.
You don't control your genetics, the place or culture you're born into, or your family situation.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've looked into it, but these are factors that are a big deal. They pretty much damn near determine your whole life. You could be born with some mental disability. You could be born without legs. You could be born French. You could be born with a micro. There are really people out here. It's rare. It's like 1 in 30,000 or something, but you could just be born with a little tiny little dick. It's one thing if you have like a 3-inch, 4-inch dick, whatever. You could probably make it work. There are dudes that are just born into this world. They didn't choose it.
Just saying, the average dick size I sleep with is like 3 to 4. Most people aren't the same size as me.
With a literal fucking bean as a penis, and they will never be able to please a woman. It's just an anatomical fact.
Oh my god. Your confidence is what drives me away from that. I don't care about the size. If you fixate on it when we're trying to have fun, then I'm going to start thinking about it. When I'm trying to have fun, I don't care about your size. I care about the fun we're having. Be in the moment. Don't fixate on that. At that point I've chosen to stay with the fun. So why should you be fixating on, oh, is she really into it? Yeah, I'm really into it. Look at how hard I am.
I don't know how all these people are out here believing life is fair, life is your oyster or whatever, when you could, some people are really out here born with little baby dicks. Life is not at all fair.
No, it is definitely not.
Even games to a degree aren't fair because there's some RNG in most games, but it's all under constraint by the programming. In real life, there is no such constraint. In games, there is
The constraint is the system we live in.
cohesive progress you can make, and in real life, there's no guarantee you will make progress even if you do the right thing, because there are way too many factors not in your control. Especially today for young men, it could seem like the whole system is rigged against them. Next time you get in your car, you could just get T-boned by some random alcoholic. It's not your fault.
Yep.
Now you're paralyzed from the waist down. Oh, you wanted to play for the NBA? Too bad. There goes your dream.
If only there was a way that we could provide for people that fall into that instance. If only there was a large group of people that aren't properly paying their share of taxes. Maybe we'd have the money to do that. Maybe we would have the money to do a lot of things if we tax those people. I don't know.
You could play I guess you could play in the handicap league. You could be fucking Shaquille O'Neal. That's kind of an extreme example, but the point is, in life, you can try hard, you can try your hardest and still fail. That shit happens all the time.
People are over here in easy or medium difficulty, like good IQ, good genetics, middle class, like not too spoiled, like just enough hardship to where they could feel like the underdog and still develop character. These people in easy mode are preaching to those on Ultra Nightmare, the kids with Asperger's and a micro, and it's like, dude, just don't give up, just keep on trying.
I'm pretty sure the medical definition these days is autism. Just if you're interested in what every major medical organization says.
It's like you're playing two different fucking games.
But that's the thing. Life might not give you anything, even if you try. It might be getting more and more hopeless for young men, but video games will certainly give you nothing. You feel like it for a little bit, but reality will always catch up. It's not real progress, it's all an illusion.
So, what do you want to do about it?
So, that's why I'm stopping.
I'm a young guy. I would imagine I'm still speaking to mostly young guys. Even if you're like 26, you still have time. If you stop the addiction now, there are still so many hours you could use properly. And that's maybe why moderation is kind of a cope.
Okay, so he is talking about quitting video games altogether because indulging in them at all is addicting. Bro, why do you have a credit card? Because I'm willing to bet you have one. God, these chicken tendies are great. Literally anything that gives you dopamine can be addictive if you get too much of it and then end up relying on it. Video games just provide a lot of dopamine. If you can't take the time to stop yourself from playing video games when you have to when you have to be a goddamn responsible adult, that leads into the addiction. But if you're just playing a video game, what's the harm if you have an hour to kill, you play a game for an hour, and then you go do your thing? What's the harm?
Maybe you should try to overcorrect a little bit from all those years growing up where you didn't have the capacity to really delay gratification. It's very easy to cope with this whole
I'm very good at delaying gratification. Trust me.
moderation, 1 hour a day thing, when in actuality you're spending more time, and it's a slippery slope to spending more and more time, because if you're not satisfied with your life, these games will just suck you in more and more.
Well, anime. So will content creators, YouTube, TikTok. Bro, the argument you're making against video games can be made against all social media. What, do you just want people to read books?
Some people might think I'm reading too deep into this.
You are.
I just play video games because they're relaxing and fun. I don't think so. I think it's definitely a method of escape from
Gerbert. Quote Gerbert. Video games dumb.
your life that you are not satisfied with. But yeah, whatever, dude. Keep on coping. I believe you.
So is it easy to moderate video games? Should you moderate them? Should you completely quit them? There's been quite a bit of research done on what is called internet gaming disorder. A study on college.
Internet gaming disorder? Please tell me you're going to show the article, or at least please link it. Probably won't. At least show me the headline.
College gamers, when looking at their
Cool. Positively correlated with withdrawal symptomology. Craving to game, impatience, increased sleeping, increased eating, lack of pleasure. What the fuck? Okay, so what I'm getting from this is basically video games give you a lot of dopamine. And then when you don't have those video games, you start feeling them withdrawal symptoms. And hey, get a credit card, spend a lot of money on that credit card, and then lose that credit card or cut it up. And then you don't have access to that thing you're used to having. It's the exact same thing.
brains found when they completely stopped, they get withdrawal symptoms. Only like 20% of college students who game didn't feel withdrawal symptoms after completely stopping.
Gaming addiction is a real thing. Multiple studies have found that brain responses to video game cues were similar to those with substance addiction. A follow-up study on elementary school students found that having signs of depression strongly predicts having a gaming disorder in the future, and also having a gaming disorder also predicts depression. It goes both ways.
Having a gaming disorder is a direct pipeline to having a gambling addiction.
What? God, I wish I was smart enough to rip this abstract apart. What the fuck even is a longitudinal study? I shouldn't have dropped out. Hold up. Based on a Norwegian sample. Do-do-do. Is this bitching about loot boxes? It looks like it's bitching about loot boxes. I mean, there is a lot of gambling in video games. And it's more than likely that it'd be harder for. Well, gambling itself is way broader than video games. Video games are pretty popular, but like way more people do gambling than video games.
Which makes sense with all these loot boxes and stuff.
And there's this other funny study I saw. Forced abstinence of gaming led people to the hub. So when Fortnite crashed
That's what he means by the hub. I should have gotten it, but I was banned on there.
for 24 hours, the hub's traffic went up by 10%, and the keyword Fortnite went up by 60%.
That's
so it's
hilarious.
like there's a pipeline with all these kids from, gaming straight to looking at people boning.
Kids are not allowed on Pornhub. There was a whole thing about that. Like, I'm only getting the vibe this guy hates video games and sex. Like, seriously. What's the actual harm if you're not letting it affect your life in a negative way? What's the harm? It's a pipeline to porn? What's the harm of porn? If it's not affecting your responsibilities, what's the harm? Or do you just not like it? He does.
Or God forbid, animated hentai.
Fuck you too.
But there is evidence to show this is not a super hard addiction to quit, because there's a study that shows brief abstinence, people who quit playing video games for like 48 hours, after that, a lot of their symptoms pretty much went away.
So take a break when you're having a long gaming session? Big brain.
And they found it way easier to pretty much stop playing or moderate. So this whole 1 hour per day thing, I would say there should be like at least a 3-day period each week where you just don't play at all. I think getting,
It would depend on the individual how much free time they actually get per day, per week. Because not everybody has the exact same time off during the exact same days regularly. A lot of people have shifting schedules. What's the problem of them taking their 1 free hour a day to play some video games? Or to watch some VTubers? Hentai hater.
doing it every single day for a set amount of time isn't the right way to go about it. I would say completely stop playing video games if your life doesn't meet certain conditions. These are being financially independent and decently well off, having a good in real life social.
Going across. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. That makes sense. That explains a lot.
Circle, being physically fit, things like this. If your life doesn't meet these requirements, you have no business joshing around. And what this
So that's basically a Jordan Peterson argument. Clean your room before indulging in these fantasies. Which, I mean, as long as you keep your, let's use his word, as long as you keep your house in order, what's the problem engaging with the little video games in your free time?
means is that the people who are most reliant on video games
to sort of regulate their mood and get them through the day, they're the people who would benefit the most from stopping completely. And that's why
Okay, but if they did stop completely, what do you recommend they actually do? Because I would recommend, hey, why don't you set up or look for local groups of similar interests? Like maybe you like reading, maybe you can find a book club. Maybe you like modeling, like Warhammer. That's a pretty popular one. Maybe there's modeling clubs. You don't know. You look into it. And I can't give options for every single location. I'm just giving options off the top of my head. I know that I have actually made a cosplay picnic meetup, and like 50 people showed up just to hang out for a day in cosplays. That was fun as fuck. I didn't know anybody there. It was... I didn't maintain any friendships that I made there, but it was a great way to get used to socializing with people that I didn't know at all, but we had a shared interest of Naruto cosplay.
I'm gonna stop playing video games.
Okay, you do you. I'm keep playing video games and masturbating.
Because being honest with myself at this stage in my life, they're less like leisure and more like an escape. Because there are things with my life that I'm deeply unsatisfied with.
Like what?
And using these as an escape doesn't solve anything, it just makes it worse. This is what the data shows.
Okay, what problems in your life do you need to escape from that you need to address? Because I'm all about reaching that underlying problem.
If they ever become a crutch, then you should stop. If you have everything right, then you could play video games. But the funny thing is, once you're in that position, you probably won't even want to. Unless they are just like a natural interest and hobby of yours, which is
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Shocker! He's playing Ben Shapiro at the end.
One of the greatest and most attractive characters ever thought up.
True.
He can run at sound speed, take out enemies in a flash, and best of all, he's blue-colored and knows how to handle the females. Speaking of females, the Sonic
This is a
universe
really
might also
great
be
deepfake.
classified as hot chick heaven because there's such a mess of very beautiful and tough women.
Okay, we're done. We're done. I love laughing at. Damn it! Change my scene. I love laughing at Ben Shapiro. I disagree with him a lot. Oh my, that was wow. Oh wow. Okay. God. That. Is there anything else I really need to touch on? I think I covered like everything during the video. Yeah, I don't really have any wrap-up thoughts on this one. No. If you wanna play video games and masturbate, as long as you don't let it ruin your life, keep doing your responsibilities. You do gotta handle that, but then you can also handle yourself. There's no harm in that.